Every single day, every human on earth asks this question. What am I going to eat? What am I going to cook? What's for dinner? What's for breakfast? What's for lunch? Well, this video might help you answer that question. And I hope it makes your life easier when you have to ask yourself, what am I going to eat? Okay, so I have some sweet potatoes that I'm going to roast in the oven. I have 2 pounds of lean ground beef that I had in my freezer that I thawed. This is from Aldi, which I love to shop there sometimes because they do have good prices. So sweet potatoes, ground beef, and my green beans from Costco that I love. These are fire roasted green beans that I'm just gonna warm up. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to rinse all of these really well and place them on a baking sheet. I'm going to roast all of my sweet potatoes. I like to keep them in the fridge for breakfast or lunch tomorrow. So whatever we don't eat, it's gonna be left over. Okay, these are rinsed, going on my baking sheet. And then I'll probably just poke a few holes with a fork. And that'll be the sweet potatoes. I can spread these out. Very simple, very, very simple. Okay, some people like to add like cooking oil and a sprinkle of salt. You definitely can do that. I'm keeping it simple today, just going right into the oven. Like I said, I'm gonna take a fork here. There we go. Okay, going into a preheated oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour until they are cooked through. Okay, going in. There you go. So the green beans, I'm just going to put them right in the pan with a little bit of water to heat them through. They are already seasoned, but I like to add maybe a little bit of salt, and that's it. Okay, green beans, some water. Cover that, let it cook. Okay, preheated pan, going in with ground beef. One more. Here's the beauty of just cooking on the fly. Season how you like. Okay, we're gonna break this apart. Okay, some salt going in. We got some onion powder, granulated garlic powder, and just give that a mix and cook the ground beef. Okay, so I'm going to add some soy sauce, like a tablespoon and a half, and some gochugaru. This is Korean, like red pepper flakes, or you could just use, you know, whatever you have. Crushed red pepper flakes works. Oh, I had that. Well, this is gonna be spicy. I'm gonna add a pinch of sugar right into there. And this is it. This is the ground beef. And I think this is going to work. I'm going to let this continue to simmer and cook. Okay, let's test. Oh yeah, soft in the center. They're done. So here's what we've got. Ground beef, green beans, and sweet potato. And I like these smaller ones because they're a really good portion. And here's the plate. And I like to add sesame seeds on top. And this is dinner. Very easy. So good with the ground beef. Green beans. And quite honestly, there are times where during the week I don't want to cook, so we go out. My husband wanted to venture out to this Korean restaurant. They start you off with some barley tea, and this is a newer Korean restaurant that he's been wanting to try. We all decided to order different stews, but we're starting with a Korean style seafood pancake. It's so good. And the dipping sauce, 10 out of 10, delicious. I love the crispy edges. I opted for a pork bone broth stew
My husband opted for gamjatang, which is a pork neck stew with potato, and my son went with kimchi jjigae, which is a classic. I actually make that at home a lot, so he opted for that. But I needed to get into my husband's broth because it looks so good. So it definitely tasted good, and I know it's a hot summer's day, but the stew hit the spot. So for my soup, I like to add these spicy baby shrimp with some extra gochugaru. This is just like chili flake paste. Give that a mix, add a little salt to taste, some pepper, and mix it. It's so delicious. Here for the rice, typically for this soup, you'll want to add the rice into the bowl, but I kept it separate because I knew I wasn't going to finish it and I wanted to take it home. But all in all, this was a delicious meal. And like I said, this is something that I ate this week. The kimchi was pretty good with the rice, and we'll definitely be back.
Here we go.
So this is one of my favorite teas. Here, I'm simmering and boiling a piece of fresh ginger with a cinnamon stick and water. I'm gonna let that simmer and boil for about 5 minutes. Turn off the heat. Now I'm gonna add some dried hibiscus. There we go. And just let that steep for another, I don't know, several minutes off the heat. So here I have some Jeju halabong tea, and it basically is like sliced oranges in like this preserve consistency. And I've just added a couple of teaspoons in each mug. And it comes in different varieties, but this one sort of tastes like orange and honey, but essentially it's just sugar and orange preserve. So the tea is right where I want it, and I'm going to just pour it in the mug and strain it. Oops. So I made a mess. Now you just mix, and that's the tea. Okay, so I have frozen black beans that I just freeze in portions, and I like to add it to my steamed rice along with quinoa and barley to make kind of like a multigrain high fiber rice, I guess. I'm also going to add quinoa into the rice and some barley. Here I have pressed barley. I'm probably going to use like maybe a half cup of each. Now I'm going to give it a rinse. Okay, so I washed, this is 4 cups of rice. And then here are my black beans. These are already pre-cooked black beans that I prepped. I have barley and quinoa. I rinsed everything. It's going in. Okay. And then we cook. So I have 3 blocks of extra firm tofu that I'm going to drain and pat dry. And this is what I'm going to make for today's dinner. I'll show you how I do that. So what I've done is I put a kitchen towel with paper towels on top of that, and then you just kind of squeeze out and dry this as best as possible. There are longer processes to really get a dry, firm tofu that fries up and really crisps up better, but this is kind of like, you know, trying to get dinner done. So I do the best I can, but you kind of just squeeze it and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so I have the baking sheet. Spray it with some cooking oil, and then I'm gonna take each block of firm tofu that's already been like dried, and you literally just crumble it up into pieces. Kind of like chunky pieces. Okay, so here I have some, chicken bouillon powder. Start with that. I think I'm gonna go for like a tablespoon into a cup of hot water. And you mix it. And for those of you that are just vegan, vegetarian, you know, you can substitute the chicken bouillon with maybe like vegetable bouillon or a vegan or vegetarian version for this. Okay, so we're gonna take this. And what I'm going to do is just kind of spoon this over the tofu. You can kind of pour it and make it quicker. So basically we took all the moisture out to replace it with flavor. I'm gonna add some onion powder all over. This is onion powder and garlic powder. And just shake it all over. I'm not really measuring. And then just kind of mix it around a little bit. And this is going into a cold oven, and then I'm gonna start it to preheat at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna take 45 minutes to an hour to cook, but you wanna bake that. You can preheat the oven. I forgot to turn it on, so it's going into a cold oven. But 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 45 to an hour of bake time. It's done. Hi.
Hi. Well cooked though.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, let's make a sauce. So I've already added just regular, soy sauce, a half cup. I'm gonna add a little bit of dark soy sauce, just a splash, like 2 teaspoons. This is the part where I just throw things in a container or like a bowl or a cup, give it a mix, give it a taste, and when it tastes right, it's when I know like, oh, that's what I wanted. Here I have some mirin. I'd say about 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna be using some Shaoxing cooking wine. I'd say like I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons. And sugar, like this much, a tablespoon. Really it's to taste. I also like onion flavor. I'm gonna go with some onion powder and give it a mix. Okay, a little bit of cooking oil in the pan and just pour that in. You'll want to give it a taste and adjust, like if you want it sweeter, saltier, I don't know, onionier. If you want more onion powder, you can add that. I'm just gonna let this simmer, gently simmer, and you want to reduce it until it sort of thickens. As a garnish, I chopped up some scallion tops, the greens of the scallion, and I'm gonna garnish with roasted sesame seeds. So this has definitely thickened and reduced. And give it a taste, adjust to your preference. There's so many things that you can add to a sauce to make it your own. This is just very simple and what I do all the time. Okay. Okay, go in with the sauce. I'm not even going to use all of it. I think that's enough, like half of it. And give it a mix. So we're gonna get some of this rice. Now we get some of our tofu, our baked tofu. You could totally stir fry the tofu or fry it to make it crispy. I just like baking it. Let's see. Got onion, or the scallion. Okay, I have some roasted sesame seeds. And this is it. This is the meal. So this is my bowl. This is what I love to do with this. And by the way, you can totally add rice. I'm just kind of cutting carbs right now. So I add the tofu, the cucumber, and lime all over. And I love tahini, so a little bit of tahini on the cucumber. The garnish and sesame seeds. And this is what I like to eat. This is my little meal here. So good. Eating noises coming up. Please scroll away. Okay, this is literally so good, and I make this all the time. If you are not big on tofu, but you've been wanting to try it, this might be your reason to try this recipe. And it's so versatile and adjustable to your palate, to your taste. Also, a lot of you have reached out to me because of dietary restrictions. You have had a lot of meat-centered recipes, and maybe your doctor or your health calls for you to kind of scale back on meat. This is such a great sub for that. And if you are looking for a cheaper source of protein to center your meal around, one block of tofu at Aldi right now is like $1.59. And it's like 14 to 16 ounces. That's a pound of tofu. Whereas a pound of ground meat easily could be like $7 to $8 right now. So that's another budget-friendly swap out. If you're looking to go meatless a couple of days out of the week, I do that. Actually, we go meatless about like 3 to 4 days out of the week. It's just normal in my household. So there's some ideas. I'm gonna make a warm apple smoothie, and there's so many things you could add to it, but this is what I'm working with today. I have about 20 almonds, 2 dates that I've removed the seeds, and 1 small apple. I'm gonna boil this for a little bit and simmer it. Okay, so I have about maybe a little bit over a cup of water. I would say it's like a cup and a half, and I'm gonna add my chopped apple, dates, and almond. Okay, I'm gonna bring that up to kind of like a gentle boil, and I'm just going to let it simmer for about 5 minutes. I'm also going to be adding some whole cloves into the pot, like 1 or 2. Okay. So here I have 2 going in. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to let it sit there because it's too hot to put in the blender, so I'm just going to let it sit. There we go. Okay, so I'm only going to put 1 clove into the mix, and I'm going to leave 1 out. There we go. I'm going to add some ground cinnamon and a pinch of salt. And this is a warm apple smoothie. It's so good. Give it a try. So I'm going to take some of the frozen rice and I'm going to microwave that. I have leftover ground beef from the other day and I have one sweet potato left. And that's going to be my meal. Not bad. Leftovers. That is a realistic meal for a lot of us. It's not all about just cooking fresh every single day. Sometimes I cook extra so I can have leftovers for like the next day. So this is something else that I make during the week. So here's the plate.